On the field, I don't know who that dude was.
Well, that's all preseason.
I understand that. I'm just saying to you. Yeah. So if you're telling me, if you're out there in the listening audience right now, saying, "Hey, Moj, you know what you need? You need to play tickle fight with yourself over these guys that you don't know, man, because that's the meat and potatoes of football team and the depth, babe."
Well, a lot of them won't even be on the team.
Oh, but exactly. So don't try to sit here and tell me to get jacked up in the fourth over a bunch of dudes I don't know who they are and a bunch of dudes who realistically won't be here.
Well, Moj, take a look at the notes here.
And so please, I'm just telling you, there's a lot to be desired as we get ready for the regular season.
Third quarter, here's what I've got for you, Rob. Elijah Garcia continues to shine, makes an acrobatic interception off a tip pass at the line of scrimmage. Big runs.
What I don't want to do those, and you're right, he was noticeable in game 1 too. Yeah. He made some plays.
Yeah,
I think those two.
But what we need to do is watch. We need to watch, quote, the all 22 on what's he doing on every other play. Is he getting washed out? Can he not get off a block? I mean, what's happening to him? Because you can't really tell on TV. But you need the all 22 to go and see what are the other plays that he's in. How effective is he? Because he may not be effective at all, but he may be. I have to go back and look.
I agree with you. But as far as like a depth defensive lineman, all you need is a couple of those flash plays. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He just made. Shelby Harris made plays.
Right.
Shelby Harris in his career as a Bronco deflected passes. He made plays.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't
Henningsen
the most
with a nice deflection there. Garcia with a nice interception.
I got here big runs by Jaleel. And then the next play, Danucci to Jaleel for the easy TD. I love the way Jaleel McLaughlin on that touchdown just sort of did the stop and pop. Got it? Oh, hi, defender. You go right by me. Now I'll step into the end zone. And that's when I fell asleep.
There were 2 dudes in pursuit, and 2 dudes went right off the radar screen.
And then I got nothing after that.
Why don't you have anything after that?
I don't know what happened after that.
Why not? Then?
I woke up to a Niners win. I don't know why it happened. All right, forget about my personal issues.
We're going to do it next. Moj has some personal issues that we need to discuss.
That I think are much more important than anything in sports.
I don't really think that we need to do that.
We got so excited. We got so excited talking about Broncos preseason that we didn't get to it this segment. But next, we will talk about Moser's Cankles on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. It's Moser, Lombardi, and Kane. I'm Rob Trujillo, filling in for Kaner. And he came dancing, which, makes me wonder.
Trying to fight through it mentally.
Is he faking the injury? Moj came in today.
Doesn't look like I'm faking it.
It doesn't.
All right, here's the deal. Kane's out. He's diseased today, so he's out. Moser thought about missing the show today. When I saw him in the parking lot, he goes, I'm hurting. He goes, I go, what's wrong? He goes, I don't want to tell you because you'll make fun of me. To which I replied, as you would know, Marty, do I look like a guy that would use your emotional hurt, whatever is bothering you, as fuel for this show?
Vic Lombardi is compassion.
So then he told me, and now at 7:42 this morning, what kind of idiot would expose himself yet again to your honeybees who continue to bite you, sting you, whatever they do? How many times have you been stung by your pets?
The total now is 5, but it was 3 yesterday morning. I had to get into my hives to make sure everything was okay.
3.
What do you mean you had to get into the hives to make sure it was okay? Like, what are you going to do in the hive?
I'm going to kill these 3 bees here.
So I had to do an inspection. I had to see if they're putting honey in the super. I had to see what's going on.
Are they aware it's inspection time? It's like an apartment inspection.
They were, but see,
do you hang a little thing on the wall?
If you really want to know, I'll tell you. It's quite traumatic. This time of the year, the bees can feel that the summer's getting shorter. You know what I mean? They instinctually know that kind of thing. The days are getting shorter.
I can see that too.
At least you have a bigger brain than a honeybee, or maybe you don't. I don't know.
It makes it sound like these babies are freaking Einstein.
Maybe your brain's the size of the head of a pin, but I don't know.
They know.
Okay, so the days are getting shorter, and the bees are making honey.
So
and you did what?
The point is that they become protective because they start to realize I got to save my honey for the wintertime, right? I can't, if anybody's coming and getting in my hive, I got to protect it even more. So they got pretty protective. I have my full suit on. Everything's fine.
So you're wearing the white suit.
All the way down, but I had like an inch between my shoe and the bottom of my suit.
That's what I was going to ask.
Of exposed skin?
No, I had socks on.
Okay, hold on a second. You're wearing that ridiculous costume, the Ghostbusters costume. You show up for inspection day. You let the bees know it's inspection time. You're fully dressed, and you have just a small area that's exposed to them, not even with your skin, but a sock.
Correct.
How do they find that area?
They know, man. They know. They run into your suit like they're trying to get you away. They found the bottom, man, and when they found it, it friggin' hurt. And so I'm not allergic. Like I don't go into shock. My tongue doesn't swell, my throat, my nose, my eyes, nothing like that. But where the sting is, I swell.
So you lost 3 of your workers.
Correct. And by the way, if you'd like me to
kamikaze your ass.
So not everybody's like this. Like like my buddy Tom, he gets stung 15 times. But he doesn't even get a welt or anything, right?
But hold on.
So but put it this way, Vic, maybe you do swell, and if you'd like me to introduce my bees to certain areas of your body, like
so are you allergic?
Your muscles get yourself all. What?
Are you allergic to bees?
Very weird.
I don't know that I am. I don't think that I am, but I guess that my body, when the poison gets in that general area, then.
So hold on. Aren't you supposed to smoke the bees out of there before you go into their hive?
I did smoke the bees. Yes, I did.
Apparently not well enough.
Apparently, this is my biggest time. Do you know why? Let me ask you this, Robert. Do you know why you smoke bees?
So they leave the hive?
Nope, that's not it at all.
Disorients them?
You smoke the bees because basically they think instinctually like they're in a forest fire and they start gorging themselves on food in case they need to leave and go find a new hive, right? If a fire, so instinctually they put all their little heads down inside and they put all their little butts outside and they're not worried about their beekeeper. They're worried about getting food into their tummies in case they need to flee the scene. Maybe I didn't smoke them well enough. Apparently I didn't.
Smoke those suckers.
Maybe they just don't like you.
Jeez.
Well, maybe.
So
look, if I had a dog and it bit me 5 times, you
might have to consider letting the dog
look at other
go.
avenues, yeah.
But here's another question I had is, okay, so your ankles are swollen. why are you like
And my
hobbling-
feet are swollen.
Why are you
His
like
feet right
hobbling
now are
around?
jacked. He's wearing his sandals. And I said, so what? Big deal. He goes, well, this is going to last a week minimum. And he's going to London soon.
A week.
Yeah, this is a week long.
I mean,
oh my God.
they're
Look
big. They're big.
Look at the cankles.
I wish.
Show,
can I?
show,
can, I,
can the
I do
camera
this?
see your cankles?
Can I do this?
Look at his cankles. He's got cankles because of multiple.
can see it.
Wait, were you stung on both ankles?
Yes.
Both ankles.
Yes.
What do you want me to do here?
Oh my God.
I mean, they're ugly. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to last a week. Like this is how is that a whole week long process?
A better question, Rob, is why would you engage in the hobby of beekeeping if you're allergic to bees?
By the way, that tan line is fierce.
Thanks, buddy.
Like if I'm allergic to like shrimp and lobster, I probably wouldn't.
But he's not
Work in the
allergic. He's
fish
saying
industry.
if he was
I'm
allergic,
not going to go to anaphylactic shock or
Right,
anything
yeah.
like that. It's just that when I get stung by a bee, it hurts, man, and then it swells up. So there you go.
Thank God I have normal hobbies.
So we learned in the future that you're gonna wear the suit all the way down to your shoes.
No,
now?
so I have these big snow boots that come up like up
Oh
the
yeah,
calf.
aren't you
they'll
supposed to
find-
be in like rain boots?
They'll find a hole, dude.
Okay.
They'll find a way in to sting you.
So-
They'll find a way.
I wasn't even supposed to work today, and I come in, and Moser can't walk because he got stung by his bees, and Vic is so old he fell asleep during the fourth quarter of the preseason game.
Pretty much.
And I'm supposed to do sports talk radio with you guys.
Take it easy, Justin. Justin Littleton writes in, Moser, you're doing great things for the world with your beekeeping.
Thanks,
We need
buddy.
Those bees. Oh my God.
Moj, if that's swelling lasts
Oh my
longer
God.
than 4
Hey,
hours,
wait,
you're
hold on.
supposed to seek immediate
Hold on.
attention.
Moj, thank you for what you're doing for the world.
Did that joke go over your head, Moj? Because that was actually pretty
That was
solid.
funny. Thank you, seriously. Thank you for what you and those like you, those beekeepers out there that are saving us, saving the world. Thank you.
The world,
Since-
actually, the
Yeah, no,
world
no,
lacks
no.
bees. You're
No.
being an A-wipe, but
But
Yeah,
seriously.
we lost 3
Yeah,
yesterday.
I mean, we
I
lost
know.
3 of them.
I know.
They go.
the world does need more bees, man.
We know, and we appreciate what you do.
Anyway,
I just don't know that.
Yeah, so today,
Do you need to be hobbling around quite
Dude,
as
I
much?
don't know,
Like
man.
I feel like, and then I heard you said that you were trying to call in and you decided to gut it out, and I just don't know that this is there's a difference between hurt
Well,
and injured. Moj,
exactly
and-
right. Right now, I'm hurting. I'm not injured. I'm hurting.
Right.
Because I'm here talking on the radio, but I want to get down there.
And do what?
Have you ever
What,
had
spank 'em?
Have you ever had an itch that you like
What?
an itch that you can't scratch?
I have about 20 mosquito bites on my legs from going to a cabin in the
Okay,
mountains.
so I want to get
New
down on
York.
my ankles. So listen, I always look and say that's a nice cankle, but then when I got my own cankles, it's a little bit of a different story. Don't look aside. You liked it, Martin. Stop it.
the hell was that? Why is Bill Clinton talking to me?
Honestly, I think
Because
this
he's
was
the
a-
king of cankles. You know that. Everybody knows that.
This is just a big bit. You were hoping you can get bit in your ankle so you could do this.
It is a bit. Whatever, dude. Man.
Anyway.
Teach his own. You guys want to
Okay, enough of this crap.
save the world with your
I'm
bees.
in tremendous discomfort this morning, but I'm here for you. Not Vic, not Rob, not Martin. I'm here for nobody cares.
Chris says, can we buy some of that cankle honey?
Do you have a name for your honey yet? Because
Yes, I was
Cankle
saying,
honey is pretty good.
The irony of all this is I go home yesterday and the queen, she went to Golden with my daughter and they brought back 2 jars of that organic honey that a beekeeper was selling down there. So I said, ooh, Moser's going to be mad.
Yeah, you're getting product from somebody
Yeah.
else.
You sell yours? What do you do with yours?
Well, I'm in partners with somebody, so I'll get some and they'll get some.
So do you sell your bee stuff?
I'm in
Wait,
partner,
you're in a partnership
I'm in
with somebody?
partner. Yeah, I'm in partners with my buddy Brent, who
So
owns
do you
a
sell your
restaurant.
bee juice or not?
No,
So what do you do with it?
because it's brand new. I haven't even harvested my first harvest yet, dork.
Wait, so does he get stung too? Like, or is this?
I'm
do they
the
just not
beekeeper.
like
He's
you?
He's the smart one. He's the investor.
He just funds the thing.
So good.
You've such an angry look on your face, Moj, and I do feel for you. It's not fun, especially when you've got that like
Does it
itch you
look-
can't scratch
but-
kind of
Hey,
thing.
Rob, let me interject.
But
here.
I just don't know if it's a
Rob.
big enough deal that we needed to.
Rob, let me interject here. And this is the last we talk about bees today.
all right.
You said, I feel for you. Not 1 ounce of me has sympathy or empathy, anything toward Mark Moser. because he goes at this with this notion that he is doing something that is above and all. You're jacking with bees. At some point, they're going to sting you, dude. Nature.
If you were sitting,
you can't be surprised by it. If I jump into a freaking nest of rattlesnakes thinking, hey, these are my animals, my pets, I'm going to get bitten by a rattlesnake at some point.
Here's my question for you. If you had to go into the Avs locker room today, say it's the middle of the season, if you had to go into the Avs locker room and do some interviews or something like that, are you hobbling in and complaining about getting bee stings on your ankles?
I'm not saying a word about it. But here's
what I'm saying.
I'm not saying a word about it. But here's what happens. Well, he saw me on the way in and goes, "What's wrong with you, dude?"
Right, because
and I
you're
said, "I don't want to tell you."
Just a little bit. I feel like
you want sympathy.
I feel like you want.
All right, last question.
I don't want. In fact,
because if you were around NHL players, there's no way you would be doing any of this.
No, but they would go. But they would go. What's wrong with you, dude? I said, well, I got stung by my bees. They would do that.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy an aquarium of barracudas. I'm going to swim with my cudas on a daily basis and make sure the world's a better place because of those cudas. Last question.
Thank you for your service,
No
Vic.
problem. Chris wants to know, isn't honey come from bees actually throwing up? Do the bees just throw up and there's a...
I'll field this one. He's absolutely right.
Mose, he's trying to get on his feet right now and walk
get the
out.
Information.
He's struggling to get to his ankles.
How is the honey made?
They poop it.
Okay. On that note, Moser, are you okay? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
How was honey
I just
made?
want to check.
Yes, that's what happens, Vic. If we would just shut up about it and get back to some...
So they throw up?
Want to hear from Sean Payton? Want to hear from Russ?
So hold on. They're eating, they're vomiting, and I'm eating their vomit.
That is correct.
Open wide, Vic.
I'm eating bee vomit.
You don't have to. Go eat your peanut butter. Go eat your banana. Sounds to me like you're eating a plant's...
All right.
Something or other.
Jamal Murray pulled out of the Basketball World Cup. I want to talk about that and the Denver Nuggets. We'll do a little bit of that coming up next on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. It's a swollen Moser, Lombardi, and Kane. I'm Rob Trujillo filling in for Kaner. Moser, you got to stop itching it, man. That's the
only swole you'll get to.
It's really the problem is you keep going after it, keep itching it. You're not worried that it's been 24 hours and it's still super swollen.
It's all part of the process, Robbie.
Hey, did you guys hear? Speaking of, you mentioned Jamal Murray. The last time I saw Jamal Murray was the parade, but before that, the NBA Finals. Did you hear the story of my radio equipment never making it back from Game 4?
Yes,
Miami?
it's been found.
It's
right?
been found.
Yeah, how?
Really?
It was stuck in the depths of one of the buses and in that bus the entire time.
And so one of the buses the team rents, and so you put it underneath, right?
The hotel accidentally put my stuff on the family bus instead of on the
player
U-Haul.
bus?
There's like a U-Haul that they bring. They put my stuff on a family bus, and no family member
Claimed it.
and nobody took it out, and it was on the bus. It's been on the bus for 3 months. Just sitting there.
So like other people have taken vacations and
Just
put
sitting there in
stuff
the
under
depths.
there.
Yeah, just right there.
That's interesting.
But we got it. We found him.
At least we found it.
We found him.
Let's talk about Jamal Murray. He's pulled out of the
Thank you, Steve.
FIBA
By the way,
World Cup.
Steve found him. I got to give credit where credit is due.
We appreciate Steve.
We're going to give you a finder's fee. Trust me. Thank you, my friend.
You are.
Yes.
You are.
We will.
You are.
You.
Jamal Murray pulls out of the FIBA World Cup, didn't travel over to Europe when Canada went over there. And first thing I want to know, Vic, is do you have any inside info on that? It sounded like from the statement that they made that it wasn't any one particular thing, just kind of fatigue in general, that they felt like they needed to wait. Do you have any inside info?
If I had inside info, I'd give it to you. There is no inside info to give.
Well,
it worries me a little bit that the decision not to play comes after training camp.
right.
Like, if you're not ready to play because you're just not there, I mean, I thought that would come before camp or during camp, you know?
Right.
So it was a weird timing. I hope it's not that big a deal.
He doesn't have that much time before NBA stuff starts.
Oh, no. I mean, not at all. A month and a half.
Be a big deal.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I just think this whole World Cup it borders up to the start of the season for crying out loud. I mean, by the time these boys are done, Team USA, how about Anthony Edwards yesterday?
Yeah,
wow.
I want to talk about that too.
Watch out for Minnesota.
That's what I was going to say.
Watch out for Minnesota.
If he's an actual superstar, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Let's finish with Murray.
I just don't think it's as big a deal as it seems. It's not. Maybe there's soreness somewhere. The guy played a full season and then some. Nobody played more games than the Nuggets. Think about that.
Well, and my thought for you, Vic, is, so we're talking about how you were watching the Bronco game and you're just not that excited about it and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, is Vic having a little bit of a championship hangover here?
Probably. If I'm going to be truthful, yeah. I mean, you go from the highest to the high, right? You go from something you never thought could happen, something you build your entire life as it's impossible, and it happens. What is going to compare to that?
Well, and Moj, you went through it last year. Do we think that maybe Murray just didn't have enough juice to get up for these games?
Well, yeah, because this is what, the World Cup of basketball?
Well, but Canada has, I think, never played in an Olympic Games, and this is the qualifier for it.
Okay.
And Canada's good.
I dig all of that, but if I'm being purely selfish as a Nuggets guy, I want him to be as well-rested, healthy, focused, determined as possible.
But what if he played for your
October.
country? What if he played and represented your country?
And it's something that's very, very special. Had it been the Olympic Games or something along the, that's one thing. But World Cup, the USA clearly is not sending its best. There are a lot of teams around the world, they're not sending their best. Joker's obviously not playing for Serbia. So to me, it's like, is it really that big of a deal? And then that's just let's just pretend he's completely healthy. Mm-hmm. He's totally fine right now. Body feels great, whatever else. I just don't want to risk it. This is important to me. I'm coming off a year where I played on the knee again and everything went really well, but why even risk it? Why not just chill out? There'll be other opportunities perhaps down the road. He's still a young man. I like it. I like him not playing for Team Canada. And listen, I'm a big country guy. You represent your country. It's an honor. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
I dig all of that. But me being a Nuggets guy, I'm saying I'm completely fine with it. I just thought also, like Vic, the timing was odd. Was something tweaked? I doubt it. Maybe he just got to the end and goes, you know what? I still feel like I can give it my all right now.
Real quick, before I go back to Vic, you were around the Avs last year, coming off a championship hangover, if you will. Did you feel like the guys, when they got back into camp, maybe didn't have quite as much energy as you would hope to see right before a season starts?
The answer is yes, Moj. They partied like mothers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God,
That's
did they
why
ever.
we're waiting for you to answer.
Yeah.
That's a question for you.
Yeah,
That's
for
a
sure.
yes.
Now
That's
that
a
we can,
yes.
now that we can look back on it a little bit, and listen, they still put together a real nice season. But
Yeah, but there were for the Avs, there were so many different extenuating circumstances. If you had asked them, because it was the shortest offseason in the history of the NHL.
Yeah.
So if you'd asked them to play in some sort of tournament, even representing your country, they played so much important hockey. It would have been an absolute bear. And again, if you're talking about the reason they get bounced around, number one, there were a lot of circumstances that contributed to them getting bounced around, number one. This team's going to be back with a vengeance this year. Trust me. And we are sitting here less than a month away. See, to the 20. The camp begins exactly 1 month from today. 1 month from today, the 21st of September, 2 groups on the ice. The previous day will be the media day, get together with knuckleheads like us, talk about things and so on. But then that next day, they are on the ice and they are full system go. So these guys are, almost all of them are back in town already. They're skating hard every single day. They're going to be ready to go.
speaking of which, did you, and he hasn't left town yet, I guess, did you see Bruce Brown buying everybody shots?
I did
at
not.
The bar? At a bar here in Denver, Bruce Brown walking around with a tray of shots, just handing them out
kidding.
to people. I mean,
He's enjoyed his,
when you get a contract like that, Mo.
listen, when you win a championship, Vic, and then you get 22 per from the Indiana Pacers, I'd be buying people shots too.
Vic, talk about the championship hangover. If you're concerned at all, I mean, is it something that you want to monitor his minutes at the beginning of the year? Like, what do we need to look forward to with Murray in terms of starting the season? Because we all want them to come out and just blast the Lakers on opening night, but we saw it last year when they played Utah. They're not necessarily like a running out of the gate team.
That's a very good sense of history there. The Nuggets lost their opener by a lot.
And that people thought they should win.
Yeah, they lost their opener by a lot to a team that did not make the postseason.
Yeah.
And they end up winning the NBA title.
Yeah.
So how important is the opener?
Oh, I don't think it's that important, but I think for the banner night, I think it is
It's
a
very
little bit important to us.
And because it's the Lakers, right?
Right.
It's the Lakers.
Go ahead, call him. Say it again.
I think the
Say
Nuggets.
it for everybody, Vic.
Oh, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to do that.
Come on.
That came at a parade.
Come on.
I'll save it for the night.
All right.
I'm going to tell you right now, and Nuggets disciples are probably going to disagree with me, and longtime fans probably going to disagree with me too. They have a right to have a championship hangover, and
Sure.
I have no problem if they do.
I really want them to win that first game. I don't
Me
care.
too.
I don't care if they go 1-10 to
Me
start
too.
the season, but I really want them to
Yeah,
win
me
that
too.
first game.
Listen to my words. I mean, I know we're all going to be critical if they don't come out of the gate and start winning the way the champions does, but I'm fine.
Do you think
I'm good.
Do you think that there's going to be
I'm
any
full.
monitoring of minutes or anything for Murray, or do you think that we just play the season and see what happens?
I don't think it's that big a deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, let me tell you what I think about this. You can look at what other teams have done in the past. You can try to garner the best course of action coming up to start the season and getting through the first couple of months and so on. You can do all of that. But these guys have never been in this situation before. Michael Malone, as the head coach of this team, hasn't been in this situation before. You've got to figure out what works best for different guys. You've got to figure out, okay, how many minutes can I play this guy per night in the month of October? How many guys do I want to look at? I think that things will be probably not wide open, but they'll be pretty pliable for the first couple of months of the season as you try to get your guys back into playing important basketball and so on, and wanting to look at guys who have to fill a critical role. Like, how many guys is it going to take to fill Bruce Brown's role? 2? Who are those guys going to be? Can Peyton Watson make a jump? All these different kinds of things. This is a real not flying blind, but you don't really know it, Rob, I think, until you get there.
Right, till you go
And
through
then
it.
once you're in it, then you have to start making these critical decisions about what our team is going to look like on a nightly basis, all the way up until, let's say, until February.
Andrew writes in, says, Tampa Bay didn't have a hangover 3 finals in a row. It's special. When you have a team that can do that continuously. Here's the difference.
And
Those teams have several players that have that ability factor. If you win one championship like the Nuggets did, and I'm not saying that the Nuggets can't win another, they're favored. They're already favored to win another. They're favored to come out of the West. But to win multiple or be in multiple, you have to have several players to have that factor.
It's hard for me to believe that the Lightning will not be in the playoffs again this year. But, and I will take nothing away from them. They won in the bubble, which was funky. The next season was half a season. They won that because they're damn good. Then they went to the final against the Avs, right? Lost in 6. Last year got bounced. So we'll see where they are now. I mean, it's when you play so much important hockey year after year after year. I mean, bodies break down, guys break down, and you can't keep your roster. So I completely agree with what you're saying. Who was that, Vic?
Who was what?
Who said the Tampa thing? Who said that?
Andrew.
Andrew. I agree, Andrew. But that was a very unique circumstance.
COVID intersected with a lot of those.
That is correct. So, I mean, look, we'll see what happens here, but the Avs faced it. A lot of extenuating circumstances for their season. They still won the dang division. Nuggets will face the same thing.
I real quick want to talk about Anthony Edwards. We spoke a little bit about him at the beginning of the segment. He's leading Team USA right now. There's an article up on ESPN that says he's clearly the guy. 34 points on 11 of 20 shooting. We kind of saw him take a step to like superstardom
he's
against the Nuggets last year in the playoffs. Do you have any concern about a Minnesota team that if Cat has to be your second best player and then Gobert only has to be your third best player? I honestly think it was definitely the most physical series the Nuggets played.
Yeah.
And maybe the toughest series that the Nuggets played. I know they should have swept them.
Yeah.
But like physically, it was the toughest series that they played in that
the
playoffs.
answer is
Are you
no.
worried about them?
The answer is no, and let me
Not
tell you
worried at all.
why. I'm not worried about Minnesota like many people are. And I know Ant-Man's going to be better. Ant-Man's going to be a star.
He's good, man.
Ant-Man's going to be a star, honestly.
Kermit is good.
And he is not afraid to take big shots. And it cost him $50,000, his competitive juices at the end of that Nugget series. Remember when he threw the chair and he was angry?
Yep.
But let me tell you why I think he is shining now. Much like Carmelo Anthony shined when he got to the national stage. Remember how Carmelo changed as a player when he played for Team USA? Remember that? Mm-hmm. Ant-Man has the stage to himself. When he goes back to Houston or Minnesota and he has to share the ball with Karl Anthony Towns, who thinks he should be the guy,
He thinks he should
Watch.
be. Yeah.
watch what happens.
But that's a coach's job, right?
Watch.
That's a coach's job to say to Cat,
It's not just a coach's job. It's a player management job. Players have to buy in. All the players have to buy in. All I'm saying is,
you think it's going to blow up?
I don't know if it's going to blow up, but it's not going to have the same ring to it that it has now with Team USA. He's clearly the guy at Team USA.
Yeah.
I just don't think when he plays with Rudy, with Cat, it's too much.
Moj, any concern about Minnesota? You feel like they're more legit with Anthony Edwards taking?
I think he's a stud. Don't get me wrong, but I love to see how team dynamics work. It's only one dang basketball.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, Big Cat thinks that he should be the man.
Good luck, Phoenix, with 4 guys, 1 ball.
One basketball, man. Hell, Kyrie went to Dallas, and there's only 2 superstars there, and they couldn't share the basketball, and it collapsed tremendously. We'll see. Hey, as we roll on here too, Rob, I want to get to, I guess we expect to see the backs getting the football out of the backfield on swing passes and screens a lot more this year, or at least we hope that that's the case. Sean Payton talked about that, getting Javonte involved. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, and we've got some interesting points with that coming up on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Well, I think it felt that way. I don't think it was scripted where I don't have his touches yet, how many carries, or I think it just fell that way. I mean, in other words, a screen pass is one thing, but, him getting a throw on a third down maybe where he's not the intentional, but the coverage dictates it. I think that's kind of what happened.
Okay, so Rob, not trying to get the ball to Javonte per se. It's just that the coverage said, we got the running back open here. Let's throw him the football and let him do some things. Because as Vic mentioned, he touched the ball 4 times in a row to start things out.
Well, I thought what was most interesting about that play where he makes the catch, it's a little bit of a scramble drill by Russ. But if you look at the formation to start off with.
Which one? The comebacker or the one?
Comebacker.
Okay. Yeah.
The comebacker. If you look at the formation to start off with, you got trips up top of the screen. And at the bottom of the screen, Javonte is by himself split out, which I'd mentioned in the appetizer hour. Those are the kind of interesting things that you can do to try to get matchups. Does the cornerback stay down there with him? Does the cornerback flip up top? And you have a safety or a linebacker go out with him. It's a situation where if Russ sees that he's got a matchup that he likes with Javonte split out like that before the play starts, when he starts scrambling like that, he's going to think to himself, I can just whip it to Javonte and see if I can get something to happen.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that the way Peyton sets up this offense, the alignment of this offense, will ultimately make Russell Wilson a better quarterback.
And Moj, to your point, like that is Javonte is one of those players that's like gravity. Like the ball just kind of finds him. You keep noticing him doing things, and that's who he was before he got hurt. That's why Broncos fans started to love him. And it's really good for me to see that start happening in a preseason game again, because to me that means he's fully healthy.
And the reason he had to play, he said it after the game, Javonte, getting tackled was the last hurdle. Felt great. He's 100%.
Yeah, see, and that's part of it too, is that the mental hurdle has to be overcome.
You got to be tackled.
You got to be tackled. You got to be hit. You've got to take a shot on that knee.
Let me tackle you.
No, not right now.
Your ankles are bad. Seriously,
I'm not even in the mood right. I'm not even in the mood right now. But you have to be
just a quick shot to the. I mean, like come over the middle, stretch for a pass, and
Moser suffered a bee sting injury. Ankles are a little bit swollen.
Let me take you out.
You have to ignore him, Rob.
Okay.
You have to be thumped. Yeah, thanks, Dave. You have to be thumped, and you have to get through it. And you can talk a big game all you want. You can be taken to the ground in training camp. Javonte was taken to the ground in training camp when he shouldn't have been, right? One of the guys got him, and a little bit of a scuffle. Offensive guys come over. But until you're in a game when somebody wants to try and smoke you, you really don't know. So you have to get over that. I thought it was great. I thought it was really good.
What he told us 2 weeks ago when I did that interview with Javonte, I said, what's the biggest difference with this Sean Payton offense? And he said, man, I've never caught more passes as a running back.
Yeah.
And what does he do right out of the gate? He's catching passes. He dropped one, exactly. But then he's catching passes.
In fact, Sean Payton was talking about him dropping that pass. I think that's, what is that, cut 2?
Yeah, look, you must not like screens that are wide open. I give him a hard time on the first play. But it's good to get him back in.
There you go.
It was a wide open screen. You could tell he maybe felt a little bit jittery going into his first game. And especially catching a ball with your back to the defense like that.
You don't know what's behind you.
Yeah, like that it's a little bit nerve-wracking. But most to your point, and you brought this up before, it wasn't just him getting tackled. It was him trucking some dudes too.
Yeah.
And they were maybe only 1 or 3 yard gains. They weren't huge gainers. It wasn't like he ran over somebody and then ran for 20 yards. But he took some contact and dished it out too. And that's got to be as confirming for his mind as anything else.
Well, to me, it seems that he's a mentally strong individual. You know, that you tear all those L's, tear 3 of the 4 ACLs, or
there's only
3 of the 4 L's. Okay, yeah.
1 ACL.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 L's, and you're initiating it. But see, that's what made Javonte work. That's what made him go when he first came to the Denver Broncos, is that he's a contact guy, and then he takes guys with him a little bit. Sometimes a lot. Sometimes he's taking 2 guys with him, but he's at least taking a guy with him, and he's falling that way. He's not falling this way. He's falling forward, and I like that about him. And I'm glad to see that he felt good about his game. Sean Payton felt good about his game. You play him some snaps, get him out of there, and you call it a day.
So let's talk about what that means for the offense. Because one thing that I noticed that I loved and is clearly something Sean Payton is trying to do, is first down efficiency, particularly running the ball on first down and coming up with positive yardage. They had Pirine for 6, Williams for 8, Williams for 4, Pirine for 9, McLaughlin for 5, McLaughlin for 3. These are all first down runs that they're picking up positive yardage. And then we're talking about Russell Wilson on 2nd and 6, and he's got to flush out of the pocket and scramble, but he can pick up those 6 yards and get you a new set of downs.
They made an effort to move the chains.
It was last year it was such a problem. You found yourself in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. Yeah. And if you can find yourself in 3rd and 2 or 2nd and 5, I think this offense is going to run way better than it did.
I think what you're saying
obviously
is
last year.
Don't do dumb stuff early. Just do the basic. Just move the chains early.
Especially when the run blocking I thought was pretty good. Like if your O-line is good enough to do it and you pick up 3 yards on first down, that positive gain makes a difference.
Here's what I've learned so far about the line in 2 games. Powers is a hell of a run blocker, but his pass blocking is suspect.
Yeah, we'll talk about the pass blocking.
It's suspect.
Yeah.
In the first game, you got thrown into the quarterback for a deflection. In this last game, it was a drive-by for a sack. So that's an issue. The O-line was better in game 2, but it's still a question mark for me. It remains a question mark for me. It was better, but not where I think you need to be.
But doesn't that make staying on schedule all that more important?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely it does. I completely agree with that. And again, somebody commented a little bit earlier in the text line. Well, the running, you need to get excited about things. You need to, when you're watching these games, you need to get down and dirty on what's most important, and basically trying to scold Vic and I about our lack of enthusiasm.
You can't, if there's one thing you're not going to do, and I'm never going to do this with anybody either. If you're not enthused about something, I'm not going to admonish you because you're not. If you don't like a certain sport or a certain something, I fell asleep for the 2nd consecutive Broncos preseason game. That is not me.
That being said,
that's not me being entertaining or that happened twice.
Rob, for the last 7 years, see, it's not like we had our cake and wanted to eat it too. We had no cake. There ain't been no cake. You see, you can't eat your. They've been awful and boring. When I look at that first drive, I'm matriculating down the field, ends up with a field goal.
I was into it.
Yeah, I was into it too. But it wasn't the most exciting drive in the world. I mean, some of the rush scrambles were good. Javonte getting involved. So all these things I'm paying attention to. Great. It wasn't the most exciting drive. It was just kind of a long, plodding, methodical, take what they give us drive. But you know what that will do? That will win you football games, man.
Especially when your defense is as good as your defense is.
That will win you football games. Yeah. So if the Broncos win and they're not the most exciting team doing it, that's fine with me too. But you can't be bad and boring. You can be a little bit boring and not high flying and not vertical and so on. That's fine with me. But you better win some football games, and I think they will. Of course, they're 0-2 to start the preseason, but there you go.
But that's why I think it's important, and we use the term stay on schedule, stay ahead of the chains, all that stuff. That's coach speak, it's buzzwords, I get it. But the point is, if the offense is boring but effective, you're going to win a lot of games.
Sure.
They scored 20 points. The stat was last year, if they scored over 18 points, they would have won like 10 games or something like that.
And
so,
ironically, they're 0-2, having lost at the buzzer each time. I get it. But see, this whole preseason thing, you can't use it both ways. You can't say, it's just preseason, it doesn't matter. And then you use it when it should matter. Either it doesn't matter or does. What is it?
I don't think the final score ever matters.
Okay, so the final score doesn't matter. What matters then in the preseason?
The tape does matter. I mean, so Ben Powers having problems
that matters?
with stunts on the offensive line.
So that matters. So
does matter.
So what doesn't matter then?
The final score?
That's it?
Yeah, I mean...
But what if the lack of if you miss kicks that lead to the final score?
That's the tape.
Matters.
That matters. Yeah. That doesn't matter to you?
Well, either it matters or it doesn't.
But this week they did. So they didn't miss kicks.
I don't think the outcome matters, and part of the reason that I don't think the outcome matters is because somebody like we've been talking about Ben Powers doesn't play the entire game.
Oh, I agree about the outcome.
So,
I don't care if you're 0-3 in the preseason, but you give me something to rest your hopes on.
Right? So if Ben Powers' tape is bad, then he might have played a whole bad game if he had been in there the whole game. That's different.
I want to go through very quickly because we can sit here. See this person. This radio show makes me fall asleep. Well, Wando, you listen every single morning and you text us every 5 minutes. So good sleeping, I guess. Let me go through the history of the Broncos. And this is not a
That won't put anybody to sleep.
But you asked me this during the break. You asked me. You were like, what is it with your you said, I don't know, why are you not emotionally invested like you used to be? Do you think, and I think in a roundabout way, you're trying to be nice. I think what you were trying to say is, are you just an old man?
No, that's not what I was trying to say.
I think that's what you were trying to say.
No, I think it was different when you were clawing, scratching, trying to make a name for yourself in the business, and it was different when you were the
so you're saying that
lead sports guy on a local TV station that had the Broncos. And now you focus on the Nuggets and just went through a championship run, and maybe if Russ is fat or not is not as interesting to you.
But having said that, I could watch them more as a fan now because I'm not as interested as a journalist. I'm more of a fan, right?
Yeah.
Would that be correct?
Sure.
Let me go through the history of the Broncos in my lifetime. All right, in my lifetime, were they interesting when the Orange Crush showed up? When I really delved into the Broncos for the first time as a child?
Yes.
Was that pretty interesting?
Yes.
14-2, they beat the Raiders for the first time. Went to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Were they exciting when John Elway showed up, that era? 16 years of just comebacks.
Hell yeah.
And crazy.
If you're going to go through all the eras, just a little quicker. Just a little quicker.
Okay. I'm trying to prove a point here.
I got you.
I watched every game with very interested in every game when John Elway was doing his thing. Then when the Greasy got in here, there's a couple years where they were still interesting to me because they were coming off a very successful time when they won 2 Super Bowls, but they fell off a little bit. Jake Plummer shows up. Was that interesting?
Hell yeah.
Preseason football?
Yep.
Jake that was a fun offense. Tim Tebow, was that interesting?
For a number of different reasons, but
That
yes.
was interesting as hell.
Then comes
Peyton Manning.
Big 18. Yep.
Was that interesting?
Hell yeah.
Did you fall asleep preseason games watching that?
Sure did not.
Last 6 years, 7 years, has nothing to do with me being involved with the team and me working as a local. Has nothing to do with it. It's been boring. It's been awful.
Well, it's
god
been
awful.
Bad football.
It's been god awful.
And it's the first sustained period of bad football in a long time.
But you're putting it on what I've done rather than what they've done. They have sucked for 7 years.
I think it's both.
It has nothing to do with me.
I don't know if it has nothing to do with it.
Most.
Rob, whose job?
Is it my job? Wait, so you're saying then it's my job to make them interesting when they're not?
I didn't say that at all.
I'll tell you what.
Then what are you saying?
I'm saying it is your
what.
job to watch them. Yeah.
I watch every game and I fell asleep twice. I'm 2 for 2.
Rob, this is
Let me
get straight.
attacking you.
But I don't understand your argument.
Rob, whose job is it when the Avs had a 48-point season?
Yeah.
And ain't nobody in that building, right? Ain't nobody showing up.
Yep.
What did Joe Sakic say? What did he come out and say? He saw the place is half full, if that. He saw it. The middle of February, ain't going nowhere. He said, it's not the fans' job to show up and tell us they love us. It's our job to put a product on the ice that's going to get the fans showing up. And
The Broncos got to earn me staying awake.
they got to earn everybody staying awake. Now, there are some sycophants out there who are like, I just love to watch those third-string defensive linemen claw their way to a practice squad. Well, good for you. That's great. If that's your jam, if your jam is looking over the All-22 at NFL.com today and watching how the third-string safeties, if they can catch on with somebody else before the season begins when they get cut, good for you. That's great. That don't float my boat, Jack. That don't get me fired up. So what does get me fired up is finding out where the real meat and potatoes is. How's an offensive line look? How does Russ look? What's Javonte look like? The starting defense. And incidentally,
I just got told by Vic that doesn't matter. I got yelled at because I said the tape from Ben Powers matters.
I didn't say that. I was asking for your distinction on what matters and what doesn't. Final score.
This being said,
doesn't matter.
I agree with you too. This being said, did you guys? I don't know enough about Sean Payton to know this, and so we'll have to ask. I guess Leggy coming up on Thursday. Is he a message sender?
I mean, it's very obvious that he is, right? He left Russ in until the second quarter in the first game because they didn't score.
Okay.
He left Gregory and Clark in.
Okay, so I'm watching Frank Clark and Randy Gregory. Starters.
They're playing deep into that game.
In the fourth quarter.
Was it fourth or late third? I fell asleep at about.
I guess the start of the fourth.
Fell asleep at about 3 minutes left in the third.
No. Okay, good. But you see what I'm saying? They were getting snaps late. Who was the third Niners quarterback? Who was the last guy?
Lance.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance,
Which
correct.
is weird because Darnold looked like crap.
He really didn't look good.
Darnold should be off that team, not Trey Lance. At least Trey Lance had some pop to his game.
If they're only going to keep two,
Jesus.
it might be that way. But go
think,
ahead.
think about it. Darnold will be your backup. Lance is expendable because you're going with Purdy.
Yeah, but Darnold looks so bad.
By the way,
that
Purdy
they
shouldn't
might
look
keep-
that good for a guy that wasn't drafted or Mr. Irrelevant, whatever that is.
Yeah.
He shouldn't look that good. He
Last
looked
pick
like a
of the draft.
he looked like Montana coming out of the gate.
I think that's why they got him out of there so quick, though. They did the same thing that they did with Russ.
But
Was
think
he
about-
looks good? Let's
Think
Wait,
about,
wait, wait,
keep
wait,
think about this too.
confidence up.
Wait a minute.
No,
wait,
no, no,
wait, wait, wait,
no, no.
wait. Stop everything.
I know what you're going to say.
Stop.
I get it.
Stop. You're saying that Russ and Purdy played the same.
Yeah, I would say they played close to the same.
I think Purdy looked a lot smoother,
They
a
had
lot better.
Two different offensive lines in front of them, and
Okay.
one was running for his life a little bit and still put together a drive that ended up in a field
One
goal.
didn't have his most dynamic offensive playmaker behind him either. Christian McCaffrey didn't play in that game.
That's true.
Is he his most dynamic playmaker?
Or it's a Debo.
Debo.
Okay.
How about both? Can we do both?
Okay. So Christian McCaffrey's not in there, and Purdy moves it down the field like butter, like it's nothing.
Yeah, and then gets stopped and only gets 3 points.
So you're telling me by watching that game, because you watch football closely, according to your reports, you're telling me
Why are you yelling at me?
I'm not yelling. You're telling me that Russell looked better than Purdy.
When did I say that?
Can I ask the question?
Okay, Kane Jr., just own it.
No, I didn't say
Yeah,
that. You've changed it now. You've moved
Martin,
the goalpost.
did he say he said it?
I didn't say that Russell looked better than Purdy.
Hey, real quick, though, real quick.
I said they both looked good.
We're looking.
And then you said you thought Russ looked as good as Purdy, and I said yes. I
No.
didn't say he looked better than Purdy. I thought he looked as good as Purdy.
Some
so
guys
stop
just
moving
fit.
the goalposts, man.
Some guys just fit. Some guys just fit that offense. Do you realize how widespread this offense is in the National Football League? A lot of teams use it.
Which one?
Talking about the Mike / Kyle Shanahan offense.
Shanahan offense, yeah.
And Trey Lance doesn't fit it. I'm telling you right now, I don't think that this guy fits that offense.
But the way
just doesn't
Purdy came on that
process.
first drive and ran it, they're throwing those quick receiver screens to start the game, just boom, boom.
Yeah.
It just looked so natural. to
crisp
him.
and clean with no caffeine.
See,
But he
that's the difference.
processes
Yeah.
it so
yeah, his
well.
brain.
And I guess
but
there
he
is-
handles that offense better than, even though Lance may be the better athlete, he's still inexperienced.
But remember, like Kyle made Nick Mullins look good in that offense.
Okay.
Bubby Brister looked good in that offense. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
Like, it's
Well, and there you go, which is why the whole trade up, was that a Shanahan thing or was that a John Lynch thing? I don't know. One final thought on this. Do you know where Ronnie Bell was drafted?
Who?
The kid who caught 7 balls for 115 yards the other night for the Niners, Ronnie Bell, the
you
rookie.
were asleep when he caught a nice slant. Over
Apparently
the middle
so.
To win the game for him.
A lot of GMs should get their butts kicked by their owners. When this guy's a 253rd overall in the draft,
It's
and
not
he's
the
catching,
NHL.
He's
It's not the
catching
NHL.
everything that's coming his way, bro. He's going to be not
but
only
Jaleel McLaughlin wasn't even
Same
drafted.
Thing. Every team has one of those.
I mean,
or two of those
it's a
guys.
crapshoot.
Every
You
team
never
has those.
know.
Hell, Jalen Virgil, I thought was a hell of a playmaker. That kid makes plays, and he's out now indefinitely. And I don't think he'll play this season, basically, because he's going to be out a few months.
Are you surprised that we're not seeing a whole lot of Callaway?
I don't think they can afford to lose any more receivers.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be interesting what receivers make the 53 now
Mims had his first catch ever
with 2 injuries in
over
there.
the middle. Mims had his first.
Yeah.
I just found it interesting. I don't know. Look, these are just my observations. So maybe I was a little bit more into the football game than I'm leading on here, Rob, or maybe than I realized. I felt pretty bored from the second half on. Pretty bored.
You didn't have any juice with a 2-minute drive to win the game.
No.
Trying to stop them.
There was a bunch of dudes
for you at all.
There was a bunch of dudes out there that I didn't know who they were. Dude.
I don't know who plays on Texas and Alabama either, right? But I watched the game. Like, it's a good football game. I watch
I get it. Herein lies the difference. And we'll end it with this argument. You watch and you care for football a lot more deeply than Moser and I do, apparently. You watch a lot of. How many preseason football games did you watch over the weekend?
Did Twitch tell on me? I saw that.
How many? How many preseason football
Like-
games did you
like
watch?
5 of them.
You watched 5 games. Like how much of those games did you watch?
No, I mean, I like had them on while I was doing other
Okay.
stuff, but
So you
I like
watch-
closely watched 2 games.
So I do other things. Did you watch any of the U.S. Amateur?
No,
Did you watch the BMW Open?
no.
I watched both of those.
So did I.
It's okay. We can be different.
You know, I
That's
tried
fine,
watching
because-
it, but I
hey,
fell asleep.
Because I'm not. All right, no, we
Fine,
can be
I don't-
different. It's okay. Because I'm not a football nerd, and I get into third stringers.
Well,
That's fine.
you are a football nerd.
I am when it counts.
Yeah.
When it counts. Right now, I don't care. I fell asleep in the third quarter. I watch things that make a difference to me. And watching Nick Dunlap win the U.S. Amateur yesterday was fun. That was fun to me.
Oh my God, that kid! I would leave Alabama tomorrow.
That dude, 12 birdies on the final
Dude.
day.
I don't
Cherry.
I watched
necessarily.
one of those birdies and I fell asleep.
That's fine.
Boys.
What did you watch?
I
Running
don't
over the weekend?
necessarily want to talk about it next, but maybe we'll talk about the U.S. Amateur next on Altitude. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. It's an itchy Moser, Lombardi, and Kane.
I just itch. I'm an itcher.
I'm Rob Trigilio filling in for Kane. Moser had a
See, in Little League, we never did that,
incident.
Rob. We never did that. Like, we want a pitcher, not a belly itcher. We never did that when I was a kid. We had chatter, but we never said stupid things. Right now, I'm a leg itcher.
Just pure-
I'm an ankle itcher.
Pure class, Moj. Pure class.
I like when you sub for the show. You fire us up.
You do get a little bit angry when I'm in
I don't
here.
get angry. I just get fired up. I think it's good. It's healthy. There's nothing wrong with getting fired up. It's not personal. Just fired up.
Hey, speaking of fired up, what was Peyton's deal? Yeah, what was Peyton's deal?
You talking about him talking to the
Yeah.
reporters?
Well, what's up with this deal?
He had a couple short comments. Listen, Mike Shanahan was always a guy who wasn't afraid
was
to
terse.
dress down a reporter. I was terrified because he was my first standing there asking a coach a question, and he was known to dress people down. But
Can I? I'm not going to tell you these specific incidents, but you bet your butt I've been dressed down by Mike Shanahan.
Yeah.
I think every good
all
person. What did you say?
We all have.
yeah, it's kind of a rite of passage in
I
Denver
think
media.
everybody
was-
worth their salt in the Shanahan years.
Yeah.
Some more than others. I mean, he stuck it to me one time to my face, hard.
I think 3 is the cut that you're talking about with Peyton. Marty, you want to play that?
Yeah, it's part of the plan going in. It was part of the plan going in is to play him 15 or so and then get Stidham some work with the first group before we made the overall change and then keep Jared in there.
I don't think that's a big a deal. You made
Not
it
that
sound
big
like
a
that was a
deal.
big deal.
I mean, the guy just asked him to repeat himself and he didn't sound too
It's
pleased
part
with it.
of the plan
That's-
going in.
Now you're sensitive.
Okay. You're the one that wanted to talk about it. How about the Trey Lance cut?
You made it sound like he killed the reporter.
I
right?
didn't make
You
it
just
sound like
spoke
anything.
slowly.
I didn't make it sound
Right,
like
next.
it. You're the one that wanted to talk about it. But do you have the Trey Lance cut?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm worried about my own team. I'm not worried about Trey Lance.
Those were the 2 that you brought up.
Doesn't
Which
bother me.
is fine. Which is fine. I tell you what's interesting though, and I know this is the Niners and not the Broncos. The Niners traded up big time to get that guy at 3. I don't know how much trade value he has right now in the NFL because he's going to have to be somebody's backup.
Well, the guy that they got at 3 that was their third quarterback, Trey Lance, looked better than their second quarterback, who was also taken at 3. Darnold looked terrible. Darnold looked like the worst quarterback on the field.
It was 11-14.
I don't remember anything he did great.
Yeah, I felt like the offense struggled with him out there. I think you're right.
I don't remember anything.
Well, they played him a lot. They played Darnold a lot. Trey didn't get in until the fourth quarter.
But it begs the question of if they're only going to keep 2 quarterbacks on the 53, is it Purdy and Lance? And do you let Darnold?
I think
Go?
writing's on the wall. I think what they're telling you and when they're playing, where they're playing Lance tells you what they think.
Yeah.
They see him every day, right?
Yeah, but I mean, listen, he is a project. Marty and I were talking about this morning. Marty, what was that stat you had? He's only had like 66 pass attempts in the last few years.
He just hasn't played football.
What was that stat you had?
He hasn't, or Geno Smith had more passing attempts last season than Trey Lance has had since his high school days.
Okay, that's fine. If that's the argument, why make him the number 3 overall pick in the draft?
Wow. I mean, it was COVID.
And the potential
you
was
had to take your
so much
guess, you
potential
know
there.
what I
But here's what it gets me thinking. At some point, he's going to be available because Brock Purdy is the guy, right? Can we all agree that Brock Purdy is the guy?
Yes.
He struggled a lot. He looked really good during the game, but he struggled a lot in practices with Vegas. I think he threw like 10 interceptions in the
Okay,
practice.
that's fine. He's just trying to fit it. Okay, whatever. Brock Purdy's the guy. I don't care what anybody says.
Likely.
I start to think about this Denver Broncos team. If any of you out there think that Russ is going to be here till the end of his contract, you're out of your mind. It's simply not going to happen, Rob. How many years has he got left on his contract, Vic?
80?
No, how many? 80 years? Okay, so he'll be 114, 115 years old?
Something like that.
Okay. I cannot foresee a future where Russell Wilson plays out the entirety of his contract.
They're tied to him financially if you're not going to.
For a couple of years.
2 more years
Okay.
at least.
Okay. That being said, well, and again, if he can play in the regular season and they kind of do what they did in the first drive this past week, great, man. Matriculate. Move the ball. Move the chains. Get some points. Get points on the board. Don't stall out. At least they got a damn field goal out of it, right? Make it a 3-3 game. Okay, good. But I start to think about, all right, well, you've got a Trey Lance sitting there. I mean, if you're Sean Payton, there's no way in heck you're going, yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about the quarterbacks between now and 4 years from now. I'm not even going to think. He has to be constantly on the
for
look.
him as a project?
Well, I know I'm saying no, but I'm saying there are going to be guys out there. The 2024 class, next draft, the quarterbacks, it's going to be awesome.
Monster, yeah.
I mean, like 83, right? To 2024, 41 years. It's going to be a monster class. If I'm the Denver Broncos, I've got to start grooming his heir apparent right now. Or at least think about it next year. Jared Stidham, you think he's the heir apparent?
No.
Because I don't either. I think that right now he's serviceable enough to be a backup quarterback, and I think he looks pretty good. Or at least he did Saturday, look pretty good. But I think in my own head, as I'm watching the game, dude ain't going to last forever. Who knows what's going to happen? You must prepare and you must plan so you don't get caught with your pants down to the quarterback spot.
But how? So listen, I think we all know that Russ, as he gets older, isn't going to be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, right? He's not going to age quite that well. But can he be Ryan Fitzpatrick? Can he be Ryan Tannehill? Can he be a guy who and it's often used as a dirty word, and I don't necessarily think it's one. Can he be a game manager and just do enough to get stuff, to get what you need done? I know that's not what his contract would suggest that he is, but if you're talking about eating a $50 million or $100 million dead cap hit, then maybe you take the game manager and you do wait if you're Sean Payton and Greg and
let's watch the season play out. Let's see what happens. I am fully confident that what Sean Payton is doing is so obvious to me. The game plan in game one of the preseason, let's just throw the ball and see what happens. Let's throw the ball. Let's test some things. They did that. The game plan in game two was, okay, if the passing game isn't working for whatever reason, we need to utilize Russ as a weapon. Let's see what we can do there. And they did that.
Yeah.
They used his feet as a weapon.
I mean, a read play where he has the okay to pull it and run around the edge with a lead blocker.
There's a reason they put that in there on the install on the first series. And there's a reason, you're right, that 3rd and 5, that's a draw from the get-go.
It looked like it.
I think that was a called play, drop back 6-7 steps, tuck it and run up the middle. And he did it perfectly. I think they're testing those waters. And he came out flying colors.
Well, Rob, here's what we heard when the Broncos made the trade for him. We got the inclination that he didn't consider himself that kind of quarterback anymore. Now, can he do it? Yeah. But what did he do? He got thicker. He got bulkier.
Guess what? Payton came in and said, you are that quarterback.
This is where the will of the new head coach is being inflicted. I think Russ wanted to consider himself either because he didn't want to do it or he couldn't do it as well in terms of the rolling out, using his legs, scrambling, extending plays. I think he wanted to sit in the pocket and fire the football. And Payton's like, dude, that just ain't you. And so whether you like it or not, we're going to design some stuff for you to use your feet. Get your legs involved in the game. And that's exactly what happened on Saturday night.
I think there were two things that were obvious. And whether they play out in the regular season or not remains to be seen. Teams often hide what they're going to do in the regular season and the preseason, so I have no idea what's going to actually happen. But it felt like two things were apparent about the offense. One, he thinks Javonte Williams is a star. And he's going to lean on him running the ball and throwing the ball to him more than even maybe we thought he would. And two, that, he wants Russell Wilson's legs to be a threat. I think, Vic, you're right. He called those plays on purpose because he wants them on tape for Vegas.
Yeah.
He wants Vegas to be looking at that being like, you got to be aware that this quarterback could run 100%. To open up things in the passing game.
You're right. So much of the preseason is sending messages, which leads to this question. Is Russell Wilson done for the preseason? Is he going to play against the Rams this week?
I don't think he's going to play against the Rams.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is going to play his final preseason.
I saw that, but he hasn't played yet.
Okay, but I haven't seen enough. I thought one series, I was like, what? Wait, what? Can you give me something? I would like him to play another series.
Because I couldn't sleep last night.
If you're asking me, Vic, what do you want to see against the Rams?
Vic, what do you want to see?
I want to see another series or two from the number one offense.
I would like to as well. I don't think you're going to get it.
I think you might. especially with the bye week in between now. It used to be that last preseason game butted up right against the regular season. Now everybody gets that week off.
Perhaps we'll find out in the joint practices with the Rams. When do they get here?
Well, they get here tomorrow.
Okay.
But they don't practice until Wednesday, Thursday. So
maybe in the joint practices, Peyton will say, I've seen enough.
Maybe.
Did you see some of these coaches are canceling these joint practices the second days because they've had too much?
It's intense.
Saints have done it. The Jets have done it. They've just said, we're not doing this because it's getting too intense. Wow, football is changing. What happened when coaches were looking forward to this? Players were looking forward to the intensity of joint practices. And now they're stepping back.
Guys are getting hurt. It's becoming a problem. So I guess we'll find out, Rob. But I mean, I would like to see him again. But because I couldn't sleep last night, I'm up really early. And I'm on everything, and I'm looking at everything, and so on. And First Take today, or Get Up. What's the Greenberg one?
Get Up.
Okay, Get Up. They said, is there a plan B for Russ? Why did he only play one series and then get yanked out of there? Now they're doing some speculation. This is morning TV, that kind of thing. Maybe they're like, I'd just get him out of there. I thought he looked fine.
Yeah, I think they just wanted something.
I think that they're looking too much into it. But I really, truly do not know what the heck is going on in Sean Payton's head regarding his starting offense. He can't be thrilled, but he also can't be totally torqued either.
We'll talk about that and college football week 0 coming up next.
And what this is.
Oh, wow. Moj with quite the picture on his amateur credential. We'll talk about that as well. Coming up next on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. It's Moser, Lombardi, and Kane. And Itchy Moser, who also got pranked over the weekend, apparently.
Yeah, so
Called our boy Vic for a credential.
well, no, it was about a month and a half ago.
Okay.
Vic goes, hey, I'm putting in credentials for us for the U.S. Amateur. You all, I'm just like, yeah. He goes, here, type your name. So this is during a commercial break right here. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I need a picture. I go, well, you have a million pictures of me. Just send one in. He's like, fine, I got it. And so everybody knows he sent in the picture of himself with the fake teeth, and they actually printed it up on my credential. Yes.
When the poor lady, the PR lady, went to go get his credential, she opens it up to verify that it's him. She looked at his photo and almost scared, frightened, just handed it to him and walked away.
In fairness, he did ask you for a photo.
Yeah.
And you didn't send one.
You know, I will say this, though. I had a wonderful time
Thank
at
you,
Cherry
Drennan.
Hills.
Drennan showed us the way.
Drennan Scholes, you're the man. But we had a wonderful time, not only Friday, but also on Saturday. I was out there with the Bear for a good
Oh,
portion.
you went back out?
Oh, I saw both matches.
Oh, I didn't know that. Drennan fake news Schultz?
Correct. Fake news. Right. That's his new moniker. Fake news. But it was a great time, man. It was some unbelievable golf. I got to admit, I was kind of pulling for the biggin. I was pulling for the
So was I.
linebacker. Yeah, were you, Neil Shipley?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I just was.
Because he doesn't look like your typical college golfer. He looks like a biggin.
But I tell you what,
It's like Trujillo out there, right?
did you see when he advanced to, was it the semis or the finals? When he backed that up on number 17, that little wedge,
Back that up.
he backed it up.
Back
Rob.
it up.
Rob, he backed it up.
Going back it up. I'm going back it up.
up.
Going back
He hit it 15
it up.
feet past the pin and almost backed it up into the hole.
Yeah, he won his match on that shot. And then you play 36 holes on a Sunday, man. And I was there watching Saturday, watching yesterday, and he just tried a little bit. I think he realized other kid was just going to be steady Eddie and very good all day. This Dunlap
Nick
kid.
Dunlap was
He made some
unflappable.
20-footers, 30-footers, and I'm going, oh, God, that's going to be tough to beat. And even
Very
when he
good
got in
golf.
trouble, he got himself out of it like that, and that was it, man.
And the reason I watched the BMW, that tournament is the one coming to Castle Pines next year.
Yeah.
And they've established the dates. The week of August 19th. Put it on your calendars right now. Next year, the week of August 19th is BMW week at Castle Pines.
It's exciting. It's exciting to have
I cannot wait.
PGA Tour event back.
Cannot wait, man.
So, Rob, we're spoiled here because we used to have the PGA Tour every year with the International.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun. The week of the 19th through the 25th, I guess, Vic, is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Next August. And it was great because all the PGA Tour players are here. You know, Tiger was in it a couple of times, but then he stopped because it conflicted with his preparation for the Open Championship, the British Open. And then they lost sponsorship and everything went away and somebody snatched up their date like that again. But when the BMW was here in 2014 at Cherry Hills, it was superb. And I think that Cherry Hills, Vic, has Cherry Hills shown that they're ready to host an Open sometime?
I think Cherry will get an Open eventually. I think one of these Denver courses, Colorado courses, will host a U.S. Open. They've got to get over the fear factor of altitude. I think they
that's
fear
what I was
that the
gonna ask.
altitude is too big a deal. In fact, one of the kids that came and played in this USAM said he had a headache for 2 days. Come on, man. Buckle up. Drink some water.
Well,
You'll be fine.
You got to suggest to these athletes that they get here a couple days early to acclimate. Your first day here, you shouldn't be walking 36 holes or whatever it was.
Well, they played a lot of golf at
Yeah,
PM, bro.
they did. For us golf geeks, though, it was a wonderful weekend. You know, we had the Solheim Cup here, which is the women's answer to the Ryder Cup. That was down in Parker at Colorado Golf Club. What year was that, Vic?
Which one are you talking about?
2000,
Oh, they had that about 3-4 years ago.
like 2018, like 5
they had
years
four-
ago.
and
Yeah,
then-
the Solheim Cup. I mean,
And they had the Senior Open at Colorado Golf Club. They had the
senior PGA.
PGA. They had the BMW at Cherry Hills
Senior
years
Open
ago.
was at the Broadmoor. So this is a great golf community, and the fans, the players were commenting how awesome the crowds were at Cherry Hills for the USAM, and they were really, really good. Heck, you saw yesterday Peyton Manning's walking the course.
Yeah.
A couple of his kids were standard bearers. He's walking the course, following that group for 36 holes. It was really awesome.
Hey, did you guys hear Max Homa and his issue with one of the spectators?
I did.
What are your thoughts on that? Because if you're there, if
Tell
you're
us
in the
what
crowd.
happened.
So Max Homa's about to putt. He makes the putt, but right in his backswing, guy yells, "Miss it!"
So left. Yank it left.
Yeah, whatever. He's yelling. Same guy yells during another guy's putt. He's betting with a buddy on whether or not they make the putt. It's not like in-game live betting on an app.
Yeah.
They're just betting among friends whether or not this dude makes a 4-footer. $50, whatever. And he's getting out of control. And they escorted the guy off the premises. Thoughts?
China. Thoughts?
Yeah.
I don't
It was
like
a
people doing that.
$3 bet.
Yeah, it was a $3
Apparently.
bet. I don't like that crap. Keep your mouth shut. If you want to, first of all, I'm not a golf purist. I talk. I'm like, great shot, kid.
You
know,
do. You talk a lot. I noticed
do,
that.
but not during when they're swinging or putting or
In fact,
anything like that.
Guys are walking by at the USM, and Moj talks to them like they're his best friend. Great job, kid. Like right in his face. And the guy looks at him like,
Ferry tours, players, like they don't get a lot of love. So they'd be like, "Hey, man, thanks." Like I felt great. I mean, they interact a lot more because they can.
Yeah.
But I hate the Baba Booey dudes, and I hate the mashed potatoes
during a
dudes.
stroke, I mean, if you
But during a stroke is
let's say-
completely out of
okay, so we were sitting on the
completely out of
green.
the
We were
question.
sitting on the green there at 16 yesterday. If during a putt somebody near you yells like that, what do as a spectator?
Hey, man, shut the blank up.
Do you do that?
Absolutely.
Vociferously like that?
100%.
Okay.
What do you do?
I do the same thing. I'm just asking. I think it's ridiculous. I think the crowd should police itself.
100%.
Did you see the crowd at the San Francisco 49ers Denver Broncos game police itself?
Some
Oh,
fights.
yeah.
Oh, man, was there ever.
Really?
Oh, it was a huge
the
brawl.
Broncos
the one
versus
dude-
Niners? Or?
Yeah.
No, it was Niners versus Niners.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, you
Niner
mean
on
like
Niner
the
crime?
fight? Yeah. Yeah.
Niner on Niner. The one dude with the white T-shirt got clocked.
Where do I see this?
He got
I'm always in
wrecked.
the game.
I'm sure somebody.
Dude, it's only everywhere.
Where
Yeah.
did you see it?
Everywhere.
Do you know what was interesting is I was watching the game and I saw the Broncos bench looking into the stands. And I'm thinking to myself, is somebody throwing stuff into the bench or something like that? Turns out, no.
Yeah.
It was just a fierce battle going on in the lower part of the stands.
Is this when I was out
For
cold?
preseason,
Oh
yes.
my God.
Yeah, it was a full
Oh
on.
my God.
There was like-
oh my God. There's like 4 or 5 dudes with Kittle jerseys just flailing away.
And there were 3 or 4 security guards down there, and it wasn't enough to stop
Oh my.
it.
Dude, it doesn't stop. The dude with the beard is getting pummeled.
Yeah, he's the one that got smoked.
And I think he's the one that started it because
Yeah.
everybody was pointing at him like, get him out of here, get him out of here.
So he's that guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy. He's the Moser at the event who's just always talking, always loud. That guy.
Moser, does your mouth get you into fights?
Absolutely not.
No, Moser's actually, again, there's a difference. You're at a golf tournament. Moser is nothing but congratulatory. He's like, great shot, good job. He says nothing negative. He's just loud. He's boisterous.
Vic, does your mouth get you into fights?
I don't fight.
I'm just asking.
I'm
What
sure
about at
people
your little
want
basketball
to.
tournament? You get into a fight?
Yeah.
No, but we got our butts clocked. That's for sure.
Because Vic, you do like to talk a big game.
Yeah, I don't fight.
Like even back, I understand. But even back in your younger days,
Sure.
going to a bar, did your mouth ever get you in trouble?
No, because again, the policy when you went to Thirsties in the
Lie to
80s.
me.
Listen to me. Here was the policy. You go into Thirsties. 2 things happen. You either fight or you hook up. I never fought.
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
okay.
Hey, so Rob,
Okay.
final thoughts on this because we're golf geeks. We're into it. We had a great time this weekend. Cherry Hills did a great job. Cannot wait for the BMW to get here. And that's so cool. They're back at Castle Pines because it's a great venue. And man, you should see Castle Pines right now. I mean, it's ready to host the damn BMW right now.
Beautiful.
Absolutely
And it's
love it.
far different than the one that for those of you who were there for the International years ago, wait till you see what they've done to it. George Solich and his crew have just completely
George has been
upgraded
awesome.
it.
It'll blow your doors off. That being said, you're not a golf guy.
I like golf. I don't play golf.
No, you don't know.
I like golf.
Right?
I'm not saying
Yes,
I
I
know.
am.
I just say I watch golf from time to time. I
So
watch
does
a major.
any of this kind of thing interest you at
Oh,
all?
he's
I
not
mean,
interested. He's falling asleep over here.
Says the guy who fell asleep during Broncos preseason game.
3rd quarter.
100%.
I have no problem. I wouldn't admit that if it weren't true for 2 weeks in a row.
I like golf enough.
Okay, let me say this too. So I saw over the weekend the very first commercial of the year for College Game Day.
What song are they using this year?
I want to do this next.
Oh, you want to hang on to it?
Yeah, I want to do this next. We got to hit a break here.
Okay.
Because you guys
we're
geeked out so hard on golf, we didn't get to talk about college football or college football.
Talk about Reeve.
No,
is that how you sound when you're talking about golf? Because that sounds right.
Your goofballs are getting ready to get on an airplane right now.
Yeah, they're going to Dublin.
They're going to Dublin.
Yeah, week 0. We'll talk about it next. We'll do it next on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Okay.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. It's a oozing pus Moser, Lombardi, and
He's
Kane.
such a baby, man.
He really
I mean, little things like this. If things like that ruined you, couldn't even imagine.
I'm sure what everybody wants to hear on their morning. Moser just cleaning up pus as he sits down and joins us. Moser, I need you here because you are the one that saw the College Game Day commercial that you want to talk about, which I think is interesting. Listen, you made it. We have football that matters every weekend until the weekend before the Super Bowl.
Today's the 21st, so in 5 days, what is that, Friday night?
You get real football.
We got real football, Vic, coming up on Friday night, bro.
First game is, oh, God, who wants to watch that?
Is there one Thursday?
No, Saturday is the first one. No Friday night either.
Really? Okay.
No. Saturday's the first one at 12:30, and unfortunately, we all have to sit down and watch Notre Dame.
Notre Dame and Navy. Yeah. I mean, the midshipmen, they'll do their thing. So I'm watching the call, and they have all the usual suspects on, and I'm not even sure if I know the song that they were playing or anything like that. They have the bus, and then they flash to Herbie. They flash to what's his face? Who's the dude?
Yeah, I can't help you. Who's the dude?
It's not
is not
Fowler
going to help
anymore.
you.
Who's the other dude?
Reese Davis.
Reese Davis.
But it is Fowler's on game day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're flashing to. They're just flashing to all the faces, right? Here, there, and everywhere, and so on and so forth. And Coach Prime is all over it.
Yeah. I mean,
Coach Prime is all over.
This has been out for a while. This game day.
Oh, it has? I've never seen it.
Oh, I've seen it online. It's been out.
And he's got the jackets, his Prime on it.
Yeah.
He's in the locker room dancing and all that.
He's not only featured on it, he comes early in the video.
Yes, very early.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
he is
holy
the
crap.
star of college football right now. He's the star of college football right now.
I'm like, holy crap. How do you
For
go
2
from,
more weeks until he loses a game?
You go from 1-11 and the worst team in a dying and now dead conference. And now you are the cat's meow. You're the toast of the town all over the 4 letters commercials, man. It's crazy. And Tim Brewster's comments last week about Shedeur Sanders and all this kind of thing. And do you see Cody Hawkins' comments?
I thought that was a great article. Was that Sean who wrote that?
Mm-hmm.
Sean wrote this article, Sean Keeler, in the Post. Cody Hawkins was the CU quarterback under his dad, and he took a lot of heat for that.
Yeah.
A lot. But he made the best comment. He goes, guys, I was the best quarterback available.
He really was.
What do you want me to do?
He really was.
And so he was asked what words of comfort would you provide for Shedeur Sanders? Because it's the same situation, right?
Similar.
Oh, it's the same situation. It's coach's son.
Yeah.
What's different about it?
That Shedeur has, at this level, played at a very high level.
Jackson State?
Yeah.
I think it's the same situation. It's a coach's son who is given clearance to be the guy.
Yeah, but Cody didn't have that kind of success.
I get it. But, when Deion came in here, hold on a second. Let me back this up a little bit. Let me back this up because I think people are missing this. When Deion walked in and said, we got new suitcases. We got some Louis.
Yeah.
Do you remember the second thing he said? And there's your quarterback.
And there's your quarterback. Yep.
Quarterback's his son. Is he as tied to it if his son's not the quarterback, if his other son's not the safety? What happens after all that? What happens when they graduate?
I don't think he leaves quite as quickly. I don't think he leaves Jackson State quite as quickly. I think he was looking for a Power 5 conference job to bring his son, yeah. But I also think that Shedeur could have transferred out of Jackson State and gone to
okay, but let's not get this twisted. There is some fraternal association. There is a family situation involved with a coaching situation too, though.
Yeah.
He's playing his son.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
What do you mean? You're talking as if you don't believe it.
What's your point? I don't see what your point is.
My point is
that Shedeur isn't actually that good?
No. Never said that. Shedeur is one of the best arms I've ever seen.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
But it's also the coach's son. He's going to get a lot of grief, but he's going to get a long leash.
Sure he is.
That's part of the deal.
But he's also the best quarterback. Again, Vic, he is the best quarterback up there right now.
I also said when Cody Hawkins was struggling with CU, I said, God, if the worst idea going is to have your kid play quarterback at the state-run school, it's a bad idea. A coach's kid play quarterback. Bad idea. It never works. I remember saying that. I remember saying exactly that when Cody was the quarterback. Here we are again.
Yeah, but Cody was never regarded like Shedeur is. I mean, okay. Cody was never
looked upon. Is your assertion that you don't think it's going to work?
No. My assertion is if things go bad, if things go south, if he doesn't play well, then what?
It's going to get ugly.
I will say this.
But that's true just because of all the attention that Dion has garnered.
But that's when it gets ugly because I still don't think a coach's son should be the quarterback. It's a hard. I have a son. Do you have a son?
I don't have a son.
I have a son. Uh-huh. I know exactly how that dynamic works. I coach my son. That's not fun. It's not fun. If things go south, look out.
Yeah.
Okay, I dig that, but I think this kid is abundantly loaded.
I agree with you.
I don't think Tim Brewster's coming out last week, and the first thing out of his mouth is how good Shedeur is and how elite he is. That's not lip service, Vic. That's not, trying to bolster him. He doesn't need any bolstering. It's not trying to intimidate anybody. He's just speaking from the heart. He's just speaking the truth.
This guy's arm, I saw it in spring ball. I've seen a couple practices. He's got the best arm since Cordell Stewart.
Absolutely. Rob, hey, listen, in the Pac-12, in college football, the safety is going to run to the double coverage a lot faster in this level. The guy's going to come off the end a lot faster. Guys are going to be up the middle, just snot out of their nose, wanting to tear you apart. So everything is going to have to be bigger, better, faster, more awesome for Shedeur Sanders. I dig that. I mean, you're talking going from Jackson State now to the Pac-12 to major college football. And, by the way, you're facing TCU in week 1. But if I'm to believe that what everybody's saying is true, they got a dude, man. They got a real dude. And I'm just excited about it. And I'm excited that Prime is all, I mean, maybe it's completely unwarranted. I was reading the ESPN article about the college football predictions.
Yeah. The Bill Conley one?
Let me see who it was. I went back to it. Vic, talk to yourself for a second.
Bill Conley put out an article saying that
Mark Slayback.
Okay.
So he got down to the Pac-12. Here's what the prediction is for the Pac-12 this year for the Buffaloes. 3-9 overall, 2-7 in conference, which would be second to last, just ahead of
Stanford.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just get ready for this.
Stanford.
Just get ready for this because I know we're all hip on hyped on CU and rightfully so. We had Jay Norvell in. CSU's going to be better, rightfully so. They're bigger, taller. But the team with the best record in state, again, will be Air Force. Again. They got 3 straight 10-win seasons, and their preseason ranking is number 2 in the MWC. They're going to be the best football team in the state, again, record-wise. Now, they're not playing CU. Do you remember what happened when CU went to the academy last year?
I was on with you guys right before it happened.
Do you remember that?
We said 15 points wasn't enough.
We remember how we saw that game and said it's going to be
something yards.
It's going to be a torture chamber for CU,
and it was. Clearly, it was.
So until proven otherwise, if you were to bet right now, which state team will have the best record in college football?
It will be the Air Force Fighting Falcons.
There's not a doubt.
But here's the thing. There's different types of success for all of those teams. If CU wins 4, 5, 6 games, that's a success. Even if the Rams win 7 and Air Force wins 10.
I know, but success is also found on the playing field. And last year, CU went to Air Force and got smacked. Yeah. And I would contend right now that if CU played Air Force today, if they played in game 1 of the season, Air Force should be favored.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
By 10.
Yeah, I bet they would. I was reading again.
Air Force would be favored by 10.
I don't think, though, that means that they have better talent than CU does.
No, they don't have better talent.
They're a better team.
They're a better team.
Right. Yeah, but in terms of top-end talent. So here's the rundown on the Buffs. Here we go. Coach Prime's first season at Colorado isn't pretty. Plenty of hype and controversy surrounding Sanders' move from FCS Jackson State, Buffaloes are going to be one of the most compelling teams in the country, but they're not going to be very good. Colorado went 1-11 last season, 1-8 Pac-12. Sanders and his staff tried to trade out beans and Frank's ingredients for beef Wellington overnight, but it won't make much of a difference. It wouldn't be surprising to see TCU hang half 100 on the Buffaloes in the September 2nd opener.
Marty wants
That's heavy duty.
Marty wants to go after me because of what we talked about before. Marty, go ahead.
Ask Rob what he thinks is going to happen in the first game.
I think CU can win it. I really do.
Against a team that was runner-up in the national championship.
They lost so many guys. That team was made up of transfers.
I hope you're right.
And they sent a lot. There was a lot of guys last year. The turnover is
I hope
immense.
you're right.
I don't think TCU is going to be the same team as they were
Listen
last
to
year.
what you're saying.
I'm going to absolutely take the 20 points. I'll tell you that.
But listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. You think CU can beat TCU.
Yes.
And on the other side of your mouth, I said if you line up Air Force and CU, Air Force wins that game.
I think CU has more talent.
So would Air Force be able to beat TCU?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it'd be a good game.
So
I really think TCU is taking a major drop off from last year to this year. But who knows? I mean, listen, they were in a national title game last year, so that can up your recruiting, and maybe they can just replace everybody that they lost the same way they turned that roster over last year.
And what you're saying is we really don't know. Until you hit the field, until you see that ball in the air for the first time, you really don't know. But I couldn't predict. I mean, what else getting? They're getting 20, right?
Did you guys watch that game last year? Mm-hmm. Buffs, TCU?
Yeah, it was close.
It was not a blowout.
You're exactly right. TCU was, halftime was right
late
there.
In the third quarter.
I agree with you.
So,
TCU got better, CU got worse.
No, I think over the year.
Yeah.
But then in the offseason, TCU got worse and CU got better. So I don't think the gap between them is 20 points.
Robbie, let me say this to you, though, about the got better part of it. Mm-hmm. I watched a lot of Buffalo's football last year. Went to a couple of games live and in person. In fact, Vic and I were at the only game they won. That was fun against Cal.
I left early.
Yes, you did.
How dare you?
They were so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Buffalo's dude were, and no offense,
injured.
They were so bad that even if you get a lot better, that's still 5 wins in my book, man. They were so bad, Rob.
TCU and CU were 14. TCU was up 14-6 until there was 3:45 to go in the third quarter.
Yeah. I saw it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. So I'm just saying, it's not crazy to me if the Buffs go out and win that thing. I think it'd be off the charts. I don't think it's crazy.
You know, they're already a dog at home to the Corn. Vic, what, you have your little sports thing, your little bookie book.
I got to be honest with you. I think they can win all 3 of their first 3 games.
Well, the Rams game, yeah, I give them a shot at that one, of course.
They can win the Rams game and they can beat Nebraska, and I think they have a shot against TCU. But even if you say they win, now the next 2 are going to be brutal because then it's Oregon and USC and Folsom. So you probably drop both of those. I don't know, Vic. What do you think? Do you think they have a shot in those games? You're being awful quiet.
I got to watch them play. It's impossibly. I cannot.
But this is how college football works.
Oh, no.
Because we don't get preseason games.
No, but this is not how college football works. This is a completely different team. This is
exactly what TCU did last year. They turned over their entire roster.
But not like this. This has never happened in the history of college football, Rob. Everybody who says, oh, well, it's happened. No, it's not. What is happening at CU in the history of college football, Division I, this level, has never happened. Entire coaching staff uprooted. Complete lineup change. Changes to the structure of how they qualify athletes and students into the school. Changed. Students, athletes. How many new athletes have come in? How many transfers have they taken on?
60.
Most in the history of the transfer portal. Changed.
I get it.
It is the biggest uproot of talent we've ever seen. So for you to say to me,
so then why
do you think about the Buffs? I have no idea.
But then why is it out of the question that they could win that game?
I didn't say it was out of the question.
I mean, you acted like I was crazy.
I think you're a little crazy.
I don't think it's out of the question.
You're a little crazy.
But you're asking me, Vic, what do you think about the Buffs? I have no idea. All I can tell you is we continue to undervalue what's obvious in front of us. Every year, a team like Air Force wins 9-10 games. Nobody wants to play.
Oh, I mean, listen, I appreciate Troy Calhoun. I love Air Force. I get you. But the story in Colorado college football is CU.
There's no doubt about it.
And let me tell you, so high school football, some games, they had like their 0 week this week. And some of the big recruits who are now choosing Colorado, they're showing up with CU gloves on. They've got a CU headband.
But we have
all of a
no
sudden
idea what to think about this team. There's 0 persons out there that can tell me they know how good the Buffs are going to be.
You're doing Robert Morris game, right?
I am.
What's Robert Morris's mascot?
No clue. It's got to be something about
Patriots?
writing the Declaration of Independence.
I think it's like the Patriots
Being
or
a
something.
signer
Close.
of it.
Colonials.
Colonials.
Yeah. I'm looking at my little matchup predictor here for week 1 for the Falcons.
It's going to be ugly.
They've got a 98.6% chance, according to the matchup predictor, to win that football game.
Yeah, what are you going to be talking about in the fourth quarter?
Talking
Get
about
some recipes from the Queen of Chicken or
talking
something?
about that CU-TCU game, which started at 10 that morning.
Yeah, there you go.
Robert Morris lost every single game they played last year.
Oh, really? Did they? Wow.
They lost every single game by pretty good margins, too.
Listen, are they still under sanction too, Vic? Do you know?
Who?
Air Force?
For what?
For Troy Calhoun giving a kid a sweatshirt. Do you not remember this last year?
Vaguely.
I think last year was the only year that they had a bowl ban. But I could be wrong. It might be this year too. But it was like during COVID and a kid came to visit and was cold and they gave him a sweatshirt and it was a
Nothing
violation.
surprises me, right?
Right,
It's
right
funny
away.
because NIL exists in college football,
Yeah.
except for Air Force. There's no such thing.
Right.
There's no NIL.
Right.
There's no transfer portal.
You know who pays you? Uncle Sam. He don't pay you that much.
Actually, I saw a video on TikTok where they asked a bunch of kids, literally kids, why they joined the U.S. Army, and they're all like, money, money, college, money.
But
You do get that, but I mean, obviously the what you need.
They pay okay once you get into the actual military.
Sure,
They
yeah,
pay okay.
but now but everybody graduates from the academy, immediately goes in, I think, as a lieutenant. I mean, you're
Officer,
you're automatically an officer, and so yeah, then you're flying fighter planes, or you're doing,
you know, Joe Lombardi's
massive
Air
defense
Force
work.
grad. He was a tight end, played under Fisher DeBerry.
One of the
nice
all-time
interview with
great
him.
coaches in the history of college football.
Back to CU, and you asking me how good do you think CU is going to be? How many games will they win?
I know you don't actually know, Vic.
I can't wait to
know.
find out. The curiosity. No, what I was going to say is the curiosity is I can't wait to see that game against TCU. That kickoff, the hype is going to be incredible.
Huge.
It's going to be incredible hype. And then the next week they come home, incredible hype. And that game might even
Husker
be more
fans,
hype.
Husker fans are saying it's going to look like the last time they were in Folsom, where it was all red.
No, it's
And
not.
I'm not even a CU grad, and I was embarrassed watching that game.
But I was
no
at that
chance,
game.
no chance in hell that it looks like that.
I was at that game. That was 2019. I was there, man. I saw the Buffaloes beat those guys.
Right.
And I was completely jacked up about it. There was a lot of red in the stands, though. Golly, there was a lot. Unless Buffaloes fans are selling their tickets to corn people, it's hard. You can't even get tickets for the game now. You can't even get them.
Season tickets are sold out.
They're gone.
Good luck. The only way it'll show us how many people sell their tickets, if the corn show up in Moss for that game, it's because season ticket holders sold their tickets. I'm looking at you, season ticket holders. Who will it be? Rod Mackey, I'm looking at you. Are you selling your tickets to that game?
It's too early in the season, though. Like, if that game was in November and they're 2-6 or something like that, then maybe.
The Reds show up, dude. How much do you want to make a bet there will be a section of red at that
absolutely.
game?
There'll be a section.
Because they get their own. I mean, they get their own tickets. Yeah, you say Rod. Brent Vaughn, I'm looking at you, buddy. Actually, I'm going with Brent, so he better not be selling them.
I love how you guys are just calling.
How are you going and I'm not going?
I know I got invited.
Well, when I got invited last year, who invited you?
That was Fuse. That wasn't you.
No, there was another occasion when I invited you to
Was it the Minnesota game?
I mean, if you know how this works, if you go, I go. This is how it works.
You got me up the elevator.
Yes.
That's right.
You owe me.
Was that last year or the year before?
I don't remember.
You got me. Vic got me got the bear and I into the goods. We were in the goods. Oh, it was the delay. Was there?
I don't care to remember.
Guys, I think you're going to have to hash this out in the break.
Probably so. But either way, dude, college football is upon us. Let's go get it.
I'm excited about it. We'll talk a little bit about Fact Checker and college football more coming up on Altitude Sports Radio.
Fact Checker and college football more coming up on Altitude Sports Radio. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5. 95.5.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Have you ever been to Germany?
Thank God. It's the final segment of Moser Lombardi.
He doesn't get it.
Have you even been to Germany?
I'm Rob Trujillo filling in for Brett Kane.
We were talking with the commercial break about
He's not a learned man.
the
He's not a Renaissance
the
man.
sumo wrestler who is Hidetora Hanada, the world champion sumo wrestler who's now trying to.
I didn't realize he was a world champion.
Yeah, he'd be playing for the CSU Rams. And when you listen to him talk, he sounds so cool. But Japanese, Rob, you said that you took a semester of Japanese, you got a D, and you never went back.
Yeah.
What was so hard about it?
So the hardest thing is you have to translate it twice. You have to do what's called Romanizing it, where you turn the symbols into like syllables and then figure out what the Romanized version of it is.
It's too much. That's too much.
It's a lot. It's a lot. You spend a lot of time trying to figure stuff out in your head.
I ain't doing all that work.
I would love to be able to speak
Gaijin.
Japanese. I want to go to Tokyo bad.
Oh, I've been there.
Have you?
Oh, yeah, I
you
was
went
there.
for the Broncos?
No, I was there. My buddy Todd used to work there. He ran a company there. It was awesome.
Really?
Oh, it was the best place ever. There's a
He's good dunk on everybody.
oh no, there's a Roppongi district, which
Okay.
is an American district in Tokyo, where all the expats.
No,
hang
dude,
out.
if I don't want to be an expat, I don't want to hang out with expats. If I go to Tokyo, I want to hang out with Japanese people.
Oh, you'll hang out. There's so many people, they stuff you into their subway cars.
Okay. Well, that's what I want to do. Now, you don't get it. German. I took German.
What don't I get?
You don't get it.
What don't I get?
German
Just
is
life.
Okay. Well, not quite as old as
Japanese-
you two, so I guess I
Japanese-
still have some more learning to
Japanese flows.
do. Yeah,
Italian
it's beautiful.
flows.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know,
German's
French
hard.
German's hard.
Russian and German are hard.
Okay, that's,
Everything's hard.
that's
that's
bordering
ridiculous.
on racist.
Like German, that's how Germans talk.
It's just
Is it?
I asked. Okay, I asked Neil Yakupov, former Avalanche Neil Yakupov, good dude,
Yeah.
not a great hockey player. Because I'm like, your English is so good, man. He's like, yeah, I picked it up pretty easy. I'm like, how long would it take me to learn Russian? He goes, 15, 20 years. I'm like, no way. He's like, oh yeah, it is impossible. So I'm out on Russian.
Well, the thing is, like, you should learn like Italian or Spanish, because once you learn that,
Yeah.
it's easy to figure out French, Italian, and Spanish. They're all
Correct.
Romance
They're all
things.
They
similar.
say that, but it's not what you think it is. Like, I speak fluent Italian, and when someone's going Spanish hard, I have no idea what they're saying.
See, and I was the opposite. I took Spanish for a few years. I'm okay at it. And then also took Italian for a few years, and it was the easiest class I ever
I
had.
think once you learn one, it's easier to learn the other. But when they're speaking in their fluent tongue
Yeah.
real fast, it's
Too-
hard to pick it up.
Too fast for you.
I wish I spoke more Spanish. Like, my dad spoke really good Spanish.
I've been to Germany on more than one occasion.
Good for you.
I'm just saying that I feel like honestly German, and I took years of German. Sometimes you feel like you're being yelled at. They're just talking.
So you feel
hard.
like me on this show?
Kind
It's,
of.
it's a hard. It's hard. It's a
hard,
guttural.
difficult- yeah, it's a
it comes from the
difficult language.
It doesn't even come from the throat. It comes from the bowels. Arr! It's one of those languages.
Did you just make a pirate sound? Was that what that was? I don't know. I'm just checking. Hey, I got a question for you guys. When's the last time one of you bought a video game?
Let's wrap it up here, boys.
When's the last time you bought a video game?
Wrap it up.
When's the last time you bought a video game?
Marty, let's wrap it up.
Last year, I bought what's the one where you're in a car and you play soccer?
Rocket League?
Rocket League.
Yeah. That's actually, wow, I'm impressed that you
I
bought
bought that for my stepson.
Okay. Vic, when's the last time you bought a video game?
When I was 12.
Okay.
Oh, come on. You never bought something for your son?
I was going to say, you didn't buy
NHL
anything for your
06?
kids? Come on.
I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. The biggest source of arguments between my wife and I, growing up in our household, I refused to encourage video gaming. I would never buy it. And she would do it on the side secretly. And it was a cause of argument.
So your kids could have a childhood?
I said, get outside and play sports. That was the childhood.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, I know they all did. But that was the one I pushed. I didn't,
You never bought a single video game for
never have, wouldn't even know the difference. And it's nothing against it. I don't do it.
So what's your point?
What is your point?
Cal McCarr is going to grace the cover of NHL 24. And I wondered, if that would encourage you guys to buy it and keep it as a little memento.
I told you probably don't know the story, Rob, but I told it during an Avalanche broadcast one time. The last time I think it was NHL 21, something like that, right? That you download it online, you play. I got
17-0.
Yes. I got killed.
Players just running into the boards just over and over again.
I don't know the age of the person that beat me.
Oh, you played online?
Yes.
Oh, what a huge mistake.
But in my head, it's like a 13-year-old kid somewhere in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
And you can talk crap to people. You know that, right? You can say mean things.
Yes, I do know.
So
that's how we grew up. That's how me and Rob grew up.
The last thing in the world I need is a 13-year-old in Huntsville, Alabama, telling me how much I suck. So I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore.
It doesn't
My
hurt.
wife won't play.
It doesn't hurt you that the 13-year-old is telling you that you suck. It hurts you that he's right.
Well, it's both. I mean, this little snot-nosed little brat can't even wipe himself is telling me I stink.
Rob,
well, you do.
We conducted an experiment about 5 years
Awful.
ago. I used to do this show, Let's Talk Sports, and we did this experiment. Moser and I were given the controls of a PS2, was it? Or
It was Madden. It was the new Madden.
And
game.
we played each other in Madden. I've never played in my life. He had never played in his life. Somebody handed us remote controls.
I think we're going to do this
So
because I have a PS5 and I think we're going to.
But we already did it, and I beat him.
No, but I think maybe we do it with a Kel McCarr.
I figured it out before you. There's like 18 buttons.
I honestly think that there's a good chance that Joker's on it
It's fine.
this year or the next couple.
My method, I had a method to the madness. I just pushed every button. He would try to figure how to do it. And I said, forget that. Just start pushing every button.
Marty,
and I won.
Marty, I think we can live stream this and really like make some money for charity or something on this. Moj and Vic. Let's ask this. Which one do you think you would be better at?
At least I know a little NHL.
I don't know what you guys do.
NHL.
2K? NBA 2K? NHL 24?
Rob.
Madden 24.
I don't know what the buttons do.
People on here are saying we should make you play Fortnite and Call of Duty, and it would just be you dying over and over and over.
Here's the example. What was the old video game where you had to fight Nazi zombies?
Call of Duty.
Okay, that's like I want to say almost 20 years, but not 20, like 17 years ago.
Yeah, they
something like that.
They had a zombie like portion of the game.
So my next door neighbor Sean, his two boys, they would play. And they got the huge setup in the basement with the giant TV and all this kind of stuff. And he would say, "You want to try it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll try it."
Jesus, are you serious? Like
I'm
an
literally-
entertainment center to play video games?
It was pretty awesome. I'm literally dropping into the game for 5 to 10 seconds, and then I'm done. Like I am wasted.
But that's against the computer, Moj. Like I want you to play against actual people.
But it's not fun. It's not fun, man. Because
I know,
it's not
but
fun when
watching
you just get wasted all the time.
Watching
man.
you guys get all worked up about how bad you're losing would be incredibly fun. What are you talking about?
For you, it would be a great time. On the other end of the stick, it's not going to be fun at all. Listen, I don't begrudge anybody for playing. Because I think the graphics and the stuff you can do now is amazing.
And
I just don't like getting my butt kicked.
I do
and
think
yelled at
there's
all the time.
value, like with Madden. I know this for a fact. You learn a lot about football.
Sure.
Playing Madden.
Absolutely.
You do. You learn about formations. You
Clock
learn about
management.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. I just get thoroughly frustrated. There's too many buttons. Give me a joystick and a red button and I'm good. That's all I
You're
need.
probably not even.
That's all I need.
What's Wolfenstein?
okay.
What's Wolfenstein?
It's the
Call of
same.
Duty?
It's an older version where you fight zombie Nazis, which is why they are bringing it up on the
okay.
Twitch
No,
chat.
these were zombies dressed like Nazis and they smoke you.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty sure it was Call of Duty that you were playing. But,
Yeah.
So you guys are a little bit closer to it, right? You get to pick up some cool things that are related to these teams that regular fans don't get.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm curious to see what Cale Makar looks like in the game. I bet he looks awesome.
But Vic, you come home with a towel from Miami that has all the cities crossed out and Denver's not crossed out, right?
Well, guess what?
You get that back now.
Guess what? I get the towels back. So
Yeah.
we're going to have some towels we're going to give away because we found the radio equipment that
you
housed the
go.
towels.
Assuming the towels are still in there.
Oh my God. And I get my suits back that were in there. Oh, I'm so happy.
But you get cool stuff like Moj, you get cool stuff like that. You could get a stick or a puck or a jersey if you wanted to, right? So, but like for average fans, I think having Cale Makar on the cover is very cool. Do you guys not feel that
No,
at all?
I think it's-
you don't feel any excitement for that?
No, I've been around long enough to know that it's a big honor. I mean, it really is. And I know for Kale, I saw his little talk about it. He thought it was really cool, and to be selected. I mean, you have all the dudes in the entire league, the entire world, so to speak, and you get to be the guy. It's really, really cool.
For a whole year.
Plus,
to the face.
I'm curious to see the games are so amazing nowadays. Not only do the players like facially look like the dudes, but when they behave on the ice, they behave like the dudes too. It's
Third time an Av has been on the
crazy.
Cover. It was Forsberg in '96, Sakic in '04, and now Cale Makar.
Is hockey easy to manage? On the video
not
game?
really.
If you're playing Moser, yeah.
You're playing me. Oh, yeah, you want to win 10-1?
Hold
Play
on.
me.
So you guys are getting real lippy here. Really, you want to play something that
Yeah.
requires something,
Sure.
some at least some dexterity, some hand-eye.
Because I know you can't play basketball.
Go play. Yeah, that's a good point. Now I'm retired. Go play his bubble hockey. That bubble hockey's fun. He's got one.
I got a Super Checks game in my basement,
It's
Rob.
sweet.
From 1970?
It's sweet.
No, I played that. Moser kicked my ass.
Yeah, I was going to say,
sure
you guys
Sure
going to
did.
get all your video gaming
There's too many
bravado?
sticks. I can't figure out which one controls the other one.
Vic,
What?
what about foosball? You a foosball guy?
I'm a foosball lover.
Okay.
Love foosball.
Do you spin?
No spins allowed. Only full spin.
Well, I'm just making sure.
Cheater spin.
Just
you play foosball?
I do.
You look like a foosball player.
Wow.
Right now. Name it.
I'll play.
Let's go.
I'll play in basketball too.
Come on, Rob. I might
all of a sudden he's not so blustery.
I might be retiring, but my goodness.
Hey, is Kaner back tomorrow, Martin? I mean,
I think that's up in the
is he
air.
in the HIV?
He's listed as doubtful.
Okay.
Why? You want rid of me already?
No.
Have him go change your bees.
I was going to say I'm going to put him on bee patrol.
Have him do the bees. You know what would be good video is putting Kane or Marty or myself in a bee outfit to deal with your bees. I would just run.
Yeah, I was going to say you wouldn't even get close to it.
No.
It wouldn't be entertaining at all.
First one to get stung loses.
I would
Last
bring
man
I'd bring a
standing.
fly swatter, just go to work.
Yeah, what a nightmare.
Oh yeah, piss off the bees. That's a great idea.
What do you want me to do?
Not piss off the bees.
Them or me?
No, that's not how it works.
Leave them alone. They won't bother you at all.
Right.
He keeps saying that.
That is true.
He keeps saying, the bees are docile. They won't bother you. And every week he comes in with bee stings.
As he waddles around the studio.
Clearly they don't like you. They smell something.
I really want to put you two on my PS5. Like, I will buy NHL 24 and we'll do like 3-minute periods. It'll be super quick.
If you could give me a brief, just 5-minute, what the buttons do.
There's a tutorial.
Let's do it. I'm not reading all that.
It's not, you don't read it, you play it. It shows you what to do while you're playing.
I don't have time. I don't have time. Just tell me what buttons do what.
How old are you? Read it. Are you going to read a tutorial? When's the last time they have an instruction manual and a tutorial for you?
What do you mean? It's like preseason football? You go through is that what you call preseason football? Tutorial?
Fellas, I appreciate you letting me sit in. Maybe I'm back tomorrow. Who knows? I will be back later in the week. It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.